I'm Dudu. Hello everyone. This time we will analyze cases of other companies that use design tokens. Please follow along closely so that we can establish our own baseline that remains unshaken no matter how tool trends may change. Previously we learned the standard structure of design tokens. You probably understand the flow where we add meaning to the raw ingredients as primitives and how that meaning then connects to components. So, how do global standard libraries used by countless designers around the world actually apply this structure to fit reality? As our first case study, let us analyze Alibaba's Ant design together. Now let us open Ant Design's Figma variables and understand its structure. You should not just focus on numbers, like how many hundreds of variables there are. What we really need to learn is the structure designed to keep all that data flowing without getting tangled. Let us unpack one by one the structure used by a major corporation to run large-scale projects. The variable collections in Ant Design are organized into four main categories. They are colors, dimensions, typography, and the final components. Shall we take a closer look at why they chose to divide the design system into these four specific areas? Among these, the colors, dimensions, and typography collections correspond to the primitive level we previously discussed. The most fundamental raw data that determines the appearance of the design system is defined in these three collections first. Then, did they only define the raw ingredients and leave out the meaning? We can actually see that the meaning is defined here as well. If you look closely at the colors collection, it is divided into base and brand groups. Looking at the colors defined in the base group, we can see that the modes are split into light and dark. And if you open the brand group below that, you can see that the colors are classified by meaning, such as primary and success. They have included the semantics right inside the primitive level of the colors collection. The dimensions collection classifies spatial density into two distinct modes. They have entered values categorized so that you can set the system to either default or compact mode. Rather than assigning specific meaning here, this can be seen as a structure for more efficient referencing. And they entered the raw ingredient values in the base group of dimensions and then referenced those base values for margins and padding. This implies that everything related to size and spacing will be handled entirely within the dimensions collection. Finally, the fourth collection, components, directly references these defined upper tokens. Instead of going through a separate semantic collection, it directly connects to the meaningful values embedded within the foundational collections. Consequently, Ant Design packages both raw ingredients and meanings together within the foundational collections, creating a two-step structure where components consume them directly. From a design system perspective, this architecture maintains clarity while successfully reducing the number of management points. Some of you might have already noticed this while looking at the overall structure in the previous chapter. In this chapter, we will focus on the most essential feature of Ant Design, which is its modes. Why did Ant Design create separate density modes like default and compact, in addition to light and dark? Let us make sure we fully understand the design system advantages of separating color and screen density into independent dimensions. Each of the foundational collections we looked at earlier has its own modes configured. Let us explore the detailed setup of how the colors and dimensions collections each divide and manage their modes based on specific criteria. The colors collection is composed of two modes that we are very familiar with, light and dark. Everything related to color is defined within the colors collection, handling the color mode switching at this particular stage. The dimensions and typography collections have default and compact modes. This goes beyond simply changing sizes. It represents an intention to manage information density as spatial density. Ant Design separated color and density into independent modes. Designing it this way allows you to control the darkness of colors and the compactness of the screen freely and flexibly, without any interference between them. When these two modes are combined, they can provide a total of 4 screen states. This becomes a powerful systematic advantage, especially for software-as-a-service products that handle complex data, by offering users a wide variety of visual environments. Finally, the fourth collection, components, does not separate modes on its own. No matter which mode you select in the first 3 collections, where the upper primitives and semantics are integrated, that selected value is referenced and automatically passed down. We will compare the structure I shared with you previously, the flow connecting primitives, alias and components, with the structure of Ant design we are looking at now. Each structure offers different usability, so it will be helpful to benchmark them according to the design system you will be building. Now let us compare the standard 3-step linear structure we learned with the structure of Ant design. These two structures show a very clear structural contrast in the way they view and expand data. The primitive, semantic, and component structure I explained before is intuitive and useful when there is only a color mode transition. However, if you want to add a density mode to this structure, an inefficiency occurs where you must specifically enter all 4 combined modes into the primitive level, which is step 1. Now, if you put all 4 combined modes into the primitive level like this, the drop-down menu in the mode selection panel on the right side of Figma will inevitably get longer. Every time working designers want to change the screen style, they have to open that long menu and visually find and click whether it is light default or dark compact. If you force density modes into this structure for a small-scale project, it will actually lead to management overhead and inefficiencies, leaving designers to get lost in the menu every single time. Ultimately, both structures have clear pros and cons. For general mobile applications or platforms focused on a single mode, the linear structure is much clearer and more useful. On the other hand, in a major corporation environment building a massive software-as-a-service product where complex density control is essential, the Ant design structure is more efficient in the long run. There is no absolute right answer in a design system. What matters is having the insight to find the right compromise that fits your product scale and your team's operational resources. This concludes our analysis of Ant design, and in the next session, we will explore another design system. I'm Juju.